So here's an interesting update in my opinion. Did you know that a Swiss supermarket called Spar has recently started accepting ICP in over 350 stores? Now, nothing I say is financial advice, but let's just think about this, right? Through something called OIC, again, now individuals can basically, I guess, buy lettuce, ice cream, or whatever at Spar in Switzerland using ICP, which is pretty, I think, ridiculous in a good way, of course, because I think it's pretty interesting. Now, at the same time, though, of course, this isn't necessarily anything so groundbreaking. I mean, we've seen other projects kind of have stuff surrounding, I guess things like this, right? Before in the past. But I think it's a good step in the right direction, maybe for something like ICP, because again, if ICP has better adoption, if it has better notoriety, if let's say the popularity increased, why is that a bad thing? I think it's a good thing by any means necessary, right? Whether it's through a supermarket, whether it's through, I guess, a celebrity talking about it, or whatever the case may be. At the end of the day, if something is becoming more popular, I think it's a good thing at the end. Again, right? I don't think it's such a bad thing in my perspective. I just thought it was pretty cool. I mean, imagine, right? I'm in Switzerland, which by the way, I've been to Switzerland twice, and I think it's really amazing. However, again, imagine if I walked inside Spar and I was using OEC, and then through that, I used my ICP to buy ice cream. I think that's pretty cool. If the common denominator, right, is that a bunch of projects are having a pullback, generally speaking, what do I focus on? I focus on what is good fundamentally, because as of right now, even a lot of memes are having a pullback, but also a lot of projects out there that are known to have good fundamentals, in my opinion, are also having a pullback. So it's just a general event where a bunch of projects are having a pullback. It almost doesn't even really matter if the fundamentals are good or not. It's just going to have a pullback if the sentiment isn't doing the best. So at a time when a lot of things are having a pullback, of course I'm going to be focusing on the ones that I like fundamentally and the ones that I actually like in terms of the presence, right? In terms of the use case. So of course, if a meme is having a pullback, and also at the same time, if ICP is having a pullback, in a lot of cases, I'm still going to care more about ICP just because it has the fundamentals, right? It's like, for instance, imagine if I walked inside a store and the socks are having a discount and the t-shirt's having a discount, but actually I want to buy a t-shirt. Of course, I'm going to be focusing on that one, right? It's kind of like this space. Sure, a random microcap is having a pullback, but that's not what I want to focus on anyways. Like, it's not something I'm going to pay much attention to, because if that's also having a pullback, but ICP is also having a pullback, of course, my preferred choice is going to be ICP in that instance, even though I'm not telling anyone to do anything. Because again, if a random project that I've never heard of is having a pullback, which I don't even know what they're really doing fundamentally, and ICP is also having a pullback, of course, I'm going to be focusing on that one. That's just kind of my mindset. So if a lot of things are having a pullback, I'm going to be focusing on the ones that I actually like. And I do like ICP personally, but again, this is not telling anyone to do anything. There's just no altcoin season at this point. But the thing is, for an altcoin season, all it requires for me to do is just wait. I mean, I'll never be able to know when exactly it could happen or if it ever even would. But in case it did, the missing thing I have to do is just wait, right? So if it's just a waiting thing, I mean, I'll wait. That's my mindset. I'm not telling anyone to do anything though, but ICP is so low to the point that we're talking about $10 if, let's say, it could ever even return back to that point, which we did see back in 2025, but I'm just saying, we're around 4 times lower than that, which is kind of ridiculous, I think, in a good way, right? Personally for me, because I am looking to accumulate. So if I can accumulate something at around 4 times lower approximately than $10, and we've already seen $10 last year, yeah, I mean, that's not a point where I would be so upset actually, because again, I want to accumulate when it's down here. That's my mindset. When it comes to this space, I feel like it's watching a movie. At least that's kind of the mindset that I have in terms of the analogy. If I come early to the movie theater, I get better seats, supposedly, probably, right? Furthermore, I can actually watch the movie from the beginning to the end and actually understand all of it. It's kind of like entering early, entering when things are kind of quote unquote low. But if I walk inside the movie theater after, the movie is played for like 45 minutes it's like I missed the whole chunk of the story. At that point, the journey has already happened, and I'm going in there, and then I have to sit in the front row probably, and I'm like, looking up like that. I mean, come on, right? At that point, what's the point? That's why I don't want to, wait for the journey to happen before I enter. I like to enter when things are relatively speaking still pretty low, which I can't control that, right? I mean, I can't always control the exact parameters for me to dollar cost average. But if I happen to see things quote unquote being low, yeah, I'm not going to complain. It's like the movie theater analogy that I used before. I'd preferably like to be early as opposed to being late, because once the journey has happened, all the action has already happened. Yeah, no way. I like to be there early because I want to catch the action when it comes to the movie theater example that I used. But I just kind of feel like that's the analogy that I have. In my opinion, when it comes to ICP, people like to tell me that, oh, it doesn't really have such a good use case. Well, I don't really agree with that, right? Because if I take a look at it, ICP, in my opinion, is kind of actually exceeding some other projects out there. ICP ticks that box for me. Dfinity, they seem to be doing a lot of things in regards to AI, and I do like that. And especially when I take a look at Caffeine AI, a self-writing apps platform, I think that was pretty cool. Not to mention, I take a look at the World Computer Day event that happened not too long ago, earlier this year, which I think showcased kind of the presence, I think, of Dfinity, right? A lot of professors, entrepreneurs, business individuals, they attended that event. So I thought that was pretty awesome. And I think, again, that showcases, I think, the reputation of something like ICP and Dfinity, because if it didn't have a good reputation, why would a lot of them attend that event? And that was in Davos, Switzerland, by the way. But besides that point, furthermore, I take a look at the emphasis that Dfinity is having when it comes to things being fully on chain. I mean, really, at the end of the day, I think those are some pretty impressive narratives. Not to mention, ICP has an aspect of decentralized AI, and we already know that a lot of people do care about AI. So again, at the end of the day, I feel like the boxes are ticked. And also, a lot of people like to tell me that, oh, because ICP doesn't have the best adoption of all time, it can't really do much during a hypothetical altcoin season. But I don't have that mentality. The reason why is because as of right now, projects, they're not really kind of valued in a way where the adoption is the end all be all. It doesn't really seem like that, right? A lot of projects out there, they're kind of valued upon their cool factor, upon what they're trying to do. It's more so cared about what they're attempting to do as opposed to what they're already doing, if that makes sense, right? So oftentimes people like the narrative, they like the story as opposed to the adoption of a project. Because if adoption was the only thing that was focused on, a lot of projects in the top 50 and the top 100, they just simply wouldn't be there. However, why are a lot of them there anyways? Well, it's because, again, people usually care about the story, the narrative, and just kind of the overall vibe when it comes to the project. And I feel like ICP ticks that box for me. So yeah, besides that point though, I just want to say thank you for watching, and I'll be sure to make more updates when it comes to ICP. So hopefully I'll see y'all in future videos. I just want to say thank you for watching again, and I'll see y'all in the next one. I'm out. Peace. Bye.